Most brand breakups don't start loud. They start quiet. No outrage, no angry tweets, no boycott hashtags, just distance. And here's the strange part. Most of the times, we cause it. We, the marketers, the brand custodians, the storytellers, the ones who love talking about and thinking about connection. Not intentionally, not because we don't care, but through all those small, well-meaning decisions we make every single day. This series, The Brand Breakup, is about those tiny decisions that slowly unravel emotional connection. Because maybe it's not customers who ghost brands. Maybe it's the brands that ghost their customers. Yeah. Hi, I'm Preeti, and this is BrandMan.ai, a space for brand marketers, strategists, creative folk, consumer behaviorists, entrepreneurs, and anyone who just loves thinking about why people connect and disconnect from brands. This channel is where research meets real-world experience, where psychology meets storytelling, and where we remind ourselves that marketing isn't just about metrics. It's about meaning. I've spent over 17 years working with brands across industries. And before that, I spent years buried in academia, writing my doctoral thesis, a dense, reference-heavy document that even my closest friends would never finish reading. But deep inside that research, I found something quietly human, a heartbeat really. I studied what is called relational stressors and moments when brand decisions, for example, like discontinuing a beloved product, quietly shutting down a store, changing a tone of voice, or updating policies without empathy for our customers. These created emotional rifts between brands and the customers who once trusted them. That's where this whole idea began. Think about it. We live in an age of constant communication. Push notifications, newsletters, reels, DMs, brand emails. Every brand is talking all the time. But here's the paradox. The louder the conversation gets, the less connection we feel. It's like walking into a party where everyone's shouting authenticity and no one's actually listening. We have mistaken communication for connection. We've replaced listening with broadcasting. And that's where alienation begins. Exclusion, a sense of exclusion. Not when customers stop hearing from brands, but when they stop feeling heard by the brands. When was the last time your brand truly listened? Not to optimize a campaign, but to understand a feeling. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear when you've seen this happen. A brand is saying all the right things, but emotionally, it's just missing the point with the customers. In my research, I found that relational stressors are the earliest warning signs of brand alienation, or rather consumer alienation by brands. And they're not big blow-ups. They're small, tiny shifts. Like when a brand stops acknowledging the community that built it. A new tone suddenly feels robotic. A policy change makes people feel powerless. Customers feel powerless. On paper, for the brand, these are very rational choices. But in the customer heart, they feel like rejection. And you know what? I've seen it everywhere. Maybe you've seen it everywhere. A luxury brand that stops feeling personal. A tech company that automates empathy. A small business that grows too fast and forgets its human voice. Each one erodes a little emotional glue. Each one widens the gap between what a brand promises and how it makes customers feel, how it feels to the customers. And the saddest part, we often call it evolution. We call it growth. But it's actually emotional erosion. Have you ever made a brand decision that looked right, perfect in terms of data, but left you uneasy inside? What happened afterward? Tell me below. I'd love to share some of your stories in future episodes. And you know what? We marketers, we're not the villains. We brand marketers, storytellers, custodians of communication, we're not the bad guys. We care deeply. We love this craft. We love the psychology. We love the design, the storytelling, the narrative. But we're also under pressure to prove, to measure, to optimize. And that's where I believe disconnection begins. When KPIs become louder than instinct, when numbers drown nuance, when empathy is actually the softest or even the quietest voice in a meeting room. You've been there. I've been there. We tell ourselves, oh, this tweak won't matter. But we know it does, because customers feel it. So tell me, how do you balance data with instinct? When do you choose what's human over what's efficient? And you know what's funny to me? We already know all of this because we do it too. We are not just marketers, we are customers. We've all quietly ghosted a brand that we once loved. No big reason, no dramatic exit, just a subtle, slow drift. That skincare brand that reformulated my favorite cream or the coffee shop that changed its playlist and suddenly it just lost its vibe for me. And how can I forget that pair of jeans that fit me perfectly finally discontinued? I didn't complain. Maybe you didn't complain. I didn't tweet about it. You didn't tweet about it. I just left. And you also, most likely, just left. That's alienation. That hollow ache when something you cared about stops caring back. We've felt it, we've lived it, which means we also know how to fix it if we care enough to look closer. Maybe that's where empathy begins again. In remembering that our audience, our customer, our consumer is not a data point. No, not a data point. They're just like us. When I moved to Shillong, everything slowed down. There's just something about this place. The clouds, the rhythm, the stillness that makes you start noticing what usually slips by. And it's in that quiet that I started clearly seeing the patterns. Not just in research, but in real life. The way a local shopkeeper remembers my name. The way someone wraps my purchase carefully without hurry, and most likely in a biodegradable leaf. No hurry. The way silence lets connection actually breathe. And it made me realize brands and people aren't that different. We all want to be remembered. We all want to feel seen. And when we don't rage. We just stop showing up. And that's how the quiet breakup begins. So before you sign off on your next campaign, approve that next design, or send that next email, just pause and ask yourself, does my audience still feel connected or just managed? Because if they don't feel connected, the breakup has already begun. This is BrandMan.ai, and this series, The Brand Breakup, is where we slow down and ask maybe more important and better questions. So tell me in the comments, have you ever noticed your customers, or maybe even you, quietly drift away from a brand? What did that moment feel like? Let's talk about it. Because the quiet breakup isn't the end. It's just the invitation to reconnect.